So the one and only, the Hall of Fame fighter, the Hall of Fame trainer, Robert Garcia, who has been calling Canelo Alvarez the greatest Mexican fighter of all time for the longest, over Chavez Sr., Barrera, Morales, Marquez, Salvador Sanchez, etc., etc., etc. Was it rightfully so? All I care about is keep the same energy. However, Robert Garcia was hella disappointed with Canelo Alvarez's performance against Crawford to the point where he said Canelo Alvarez doesn't have the Mexican heart. You guys heard it right. Robert Garcia was questioning Canelo Alvarez's heart because he was fighting to survive against Crawford, he felt, instead of fighting to win. He never tried to fight to win, let alone go out on his shield. Here is exactly what Robert Garcia stated about Canelo Alvarez lacking heart. Check it out.
And he did exactly what Bomac was telling me about. He boxed beautiful. He even stood in front of him to exchange and landed the better punches. So that tells you a lot. Because he's never been there. He's never done that. That's what he needs. That's what he needed. But he didn't do. He didn't even try. The thing is that what we've seen with, he's Mexican. What we've seen with Mexican fighters like Chavez, who was having a hard time against Mayweather. Chavez, who was having a hard time against Meldrick Taylor. But he kept going. He kept trying and, missing, getting hit, whatever. But he kept going, cutting the ring. He had that mentality, that heart of a warrior. Barrera did it a few times. Morales did it a few times. Just to mention those. Marquez coming from behind, or a very close, tough fight against Pitbull. Diaz, Juan, what do they call him?
Baby Bull.
The Baby Bull. I said Pitbull. Baby Bull. But, never gave up, kept going, kept doing it. That's what Canelo missed, man. Even if he would have lost, but never changed the game plan, never tried anything different. Always kept the same rhythm. Even though he was losing, still looking for that left of the body with no, from far, opening up, keeping his chin up. He's never been in those situations, so maybe that hurt him. Fernando Vargas, we're Mexican, but he's not born in Mexico, so I didn't mention him. But remember Fernando versus Trinidad, first round, Fernando gets dropped and hurt, but he still kept coming. Then a few rounds later, drops Trinidad. That's what Canelo's missing. That's what people want to see from Canelo. That's what Mexicans want to see from Canelo. Where you're losing, like the perfect example of Crawford. You're losing. Cut the ring, throw more punches, get a little dirty if you can. To try to find a way. Chavez jumped to reach that right hand against Mayweather and dropped him. You know what I mean? Because he just jumped. He was desperate to land that punch.
Right.
That's something Canelo has never showed us. Canelo has never had that. Canelo's an athlete. Canelo's a great athlete, a very dedicated person. He's focused. He trains hard. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
See, I don't buy that. Canelo is too rich, this, that, and the third. I mean, we saw Floyd was richer than Canelo, and that never been a problem. It's all about your skills. It doesn't matter how hard Robert Garcia trained for Corrales. I don't care what Robert Garcia would have had done. He would have still lost to Corrales because he was simply the better fighter. Just like Crawford when he fought Canelo. Now, what did I tell you guys about Shakur Stevenson's opinion to why Canelo stated Crawford is better than Floyd? Way better. Shakur attributed that to Canelo being mesmerized by Crawford's power even though he moved up 3 weight classes. How the hell can Crawford crack harder than me? That's how Canelo was looking, because Canelo never hurt Crawford during the fight. Meanwhile, Crawford hurt Canelo multiple times and almost took him out at the end of the fight. Shakur explained, which I totally agreed with him, that Canelo Alvarez was not taking any risk. He was making sure his form is correct. He was trying to walk in range. He wasn't taking any unnecessary risk. In fact, he wasn't even taking necessary risks for him to win. Basically, Canelo was fighting to survive, which goes back to Robert Garcia's point that Canelo lacks heart. He doesn't have the heart of a Mexican warrior that will give it his all and willing to go out on his shield to win. And we saw that. The reason why Canelo wasn't throwing 6 punches combos like he used to against lower opposition or even against Triple G. His fans wanted him to throw punches like he was doing against Triple G. But Crawford is not a robot like Triple G. Like Floyd Mayweather said, with Triple G, there's no special effects. That's why Triple G was running from a lot of fighters, especially Andre Ward, pound for pound #1 after Floyd retired, and he was #2 pound for pound when Floyd was around. Triple G wanted no smoke with him. Why? Because Triple G knew what time it was. Just like Canelo, he avoided Jamal Charlo, and Andre Ward. All the best Black American undefeated fighters. He did that for a reason, because Triple G was the type of fighter. This is how he negotiates with you in the ring. I'm going to go ahead and take my turn to punch you, and then I'm going to put my hands up for you to start punching me. We're going to take turns punching each other, and whoever is more durable, whoever is stronger, punches harder, that's who's going to win. That's the type of skills Triple G brought to the table, where I kid you not, HBO tried desperately to sell Triple G as the new face of boxing and as the new pound for pound king. They even put him on a list that was the top fighters of the past 25 years. How the hell Triple G made it to the list top 13? I don't know. The complexion for the connection to get the ultimate protection, that's how. Well, Crawford ain't that. Crawford is a saying on earth. I've been telling you guys. And Canelo found out the hard way, along with the Canelo fans that lost their money. I told y'all to keep it. Now, when it comes to Crawford, Canelo Alvarez wasn't letting his hands go because he didn't want to go night-night. He didn't want to have the same faith as Errol Spence, as Jeff Horn, even though Crawford moved up multiple weight classes. Because Canelo saw the skill and he felt the Super Saiyan power. After that, it was a wrap. You see, Crawford can lead. Crawford can defend. Crawford can counter. Crawford can fight on the front foot, the back foot, mid-range, inside. Crawford can do it all. Crawford can set you up for something. He's doing something to set you up rounds later, while he's already setting you up for stuff now and then stuff toward the end of the round. There is so many things you have to worry about fighting Bud, which is the reason why instead of Canelo throwing 3 to 4 punches combo, he was actually throwing 1 punch at a time and moving his head 3-4 times instead after that. Do you guys know how Larry, Jim Lampley, Chris Mannix, and all of old media tries to paint the narrative that the black fighters are defensively sound first, however other races are offensively minded first? That was another narrative that Bud exposed. It turned out it was Canelo who was defensively minded, not Bud. Bud was letting shit fly from the first bell, backing up Canelo, and it was Canelo who was retreating, just like he did when he fought Floyd. even though he was the bigger man then, and he was even more so the bigger man now. Canelo was defensively minded first, and that's what Canelo fans saw. And that's why the Hispanic people are pissed as hell at Canelo. Like, damn, why are you moving your head like that as if you fighting freaking Mike Tyson? God damn, this guy moving up 3 weight classes. But every time Bud threw a punch, Canelo Alvarez would lean back and step back 3 feet. I have a lot of Hispanic friends, and when I ask them about this fight, they tell me Canelo is dead. And I say, why you say that? What do you mean Canelo is dead? And they tell me Crawford took his soul. He ripped his heart out. That's what the Canelo fans are telling me. I had to check on my best friend. His name is Akhi from high school. Man, nobody loved Canelo more than him. I gave him a call to see if he's okay after Canelo lost. And when I called him, first we was texting. He told me he was rooting for Crawford. And I was like, wait a minute. Who the hell is this? Who the hell am I texting? Because I know damn well Akhi ain't picking no freaking Crawford. He loved Canelo to death. That's when I called him. I said, you okay, bro? What the hell are you talking about? You was rooting for Crawford. I know damn well you wasn't rooting for Crawford. And then he explained to me, no. I knew Crawford was going to win, but my heart was going for Canelo. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I asked my boys, just like I ask everyone, when did you think or when did you know Canelo was losing or he was going to lose? He told me the first freaking round. And all of them told me that. I was like, what you mean? You don't know how Crawford was going to react to Canelo punches then? He was like, nah. I saw how Canelo was reacting to his freaking punches. How Canelo was respecting him as if Canelo was the one moving up multiple weight classes, not Bud. Remember when Canelo was clenching his teeth right before the fight? He was ready to get punched on. They said Canelo has the best chin, not just today. Some of them used to say of all time. And he did not even rely on that chin, or they didn't even trust that chin to take necessary risks that he was supposed to win the fight. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Garcia said Canelo Alvarez lacks heart. But I have to completely disagree with Robert Garcia. Here is why. What standard are we judging Canelo by? Because if we are judging Canelo by the other Mexican legendary fighters' standard, then I don't see why would you say that. Because if Canelo wanted to win, I told you guys, he would have had to cross that line like Errol Spence did and go to sleep, which he wasn't willing to do. Because let's be real, Robert Garcia, brother Mikey Garcia, he was in the same situation, the same position, and he didn't take any risk like that or go out on his shield when he fought Errol Spence, right? So why would we criticize Canelo for doing the same thing his countrymen like Mikey Garcia did? Now, just to point out, to give credit to Mikey Garcia, he was actually the one moving up 2 weight classes. Canelo didn't move up any weight classes. In fact, it was Crawford who was moving up 3 weight classes. So for Mikey's case, I can see why he did what he did. And I can see why Robert will feel that way, even though his brother did fight to survive also, due to the fact Mikey was the one moving up in weight, while Bud was the one moving up in weight against Canelo, right? However, when you look at other legendary fighters like Barrera, yeah, Barrera took risks, but Barrera got knocked out twice by, I believe, Ray Jones, something like that, Roy Jones Jr. at 126. Barrera had to change his style completely. When he fought Nassim Hamid, he wasn't a brawler like he used to. He became a boxer. All of a sudden, Barrera changed his whole style to survive and actually box after he got put to sleep twice. Let's go to the most legendary one, Chavez Sr. He also got knocked down against Randall, but when he got up, he didn't get up to go out on his shield or continue fighting. He got up to run and survive. That was Chavez Sr.'s first official loss, outside of his other losses against Pernell Whitaker, Taylor Robbery, etc. That's the most legendary one, according to Mexico, right? Chavez Sr., when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. Chavez was 33, Oscar De La Hoya was 23, just like when Canelo fought Floyd. Floyd was even older than Chavez by 3 years. And do you guys know, Chavez quit against Oscar De La Hoya? Whatever happened to going out on your shield? All of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time lost their undefeated record to a black fighter. Canelo Alvarez actually joined the list twice. He lost his undefeated record to Floyd and got whooped again years later by a guy 3 weight divisions smaller than him, where Canelo had all the advantages. The point is, it ain't just Mexican fighters. 99.99% of all the fighters lost their undefeated record and lost after that as well to black fighters. This has been the story since the beginning of time. That's why the greatest fighters of all time are the Sugar Rays, the Floyd, the Roy, the Crawford, the Ali, the Sweet Pea. All of them come from the same race. Therefore, I can say Canelo doesn't have heart like Mike Tyson said because he ducked the Mexican monster to lose to a welterweight. The irony of it all. However, as far as Canelo not having heart because he didn't want to take chances, that's all the fighters. In the sport of boxing, the best chin is the one that doesn't get hit. That's why Canelo was moving his head to the point where he was way more worried about his defense than offense, according to old media criticism of the black fighters, due to the fact the best chin is the one that doesn't get hit. Canelo knows that. Canelo haven't got put to sleep due to that. Him avoiding the best and also him avoiding punches in that ring. He's not stupid. Are you guys watching above how Canelo was desperately trying to punch Crawford? He was not comfortable throwing punches because of the Super Saiyan power that was coming back that he felt. You guys lied to Canelo. Did you guys really thought that believing y'all own lies that y'all came up with of Crawford having a weak resume, even though Crawford, like I already proved, had a better resume than Canelo himself? Did you guys think that lying to Canelo was gonna help Canelo? I guess we all found the truth in the ring. Like I told y'all would, when the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, according to you guys, met the legendary Super Saiyan Terence Bud Crawford. That being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys believe Canelo Alvarez doesn't have heart? Because if you're going to say that Canelo doesn't have Mexican heart, because if you say that, that's going to apply to a lot of fighters, like Oscar when he fought Trinidad, Chavez when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, and many more, Barrera, etc., etc., etc. A lot of fighters, they do not want their fate to be getting knocked out in front of their peoples. And I guarantee you this, one thing the Canelo fans are happy about is not seeing Canelo get put to sleep. Man, forget about crying. They wouldn't have been able to sleep that night. So why the hell y'all want Canelo or wanted Canelo to take risks so he could go to sleep? Canelo knew his faith if he threw more punches like y'all want him to do. Y'all not fighting in the ring. Canelo is. And Canelo knows y'all don't want to see him get put to sleep. That's why he fought that way. So keep that same energy. Canelo is still the greatest Mexican fighter of all time because whatever you criticize Canelo of, the other Mexican legendary fighters did it too. Let's keep it a buck, boxing fans, especially you Canelo fans, including Robert Garcia. Sometimes you're just not good enough. Canelo did his best. Now, if you wanted to see him get knocked out because he avoided Benavidez to lose to a welterweight, that's a different story. But as far as Canelo doing his best, he already did his best. Coming into the fight, the week of the fight, Canelo trainer Eddie Reynoso said Canelo was in the best shape of his life. For the past 20 years, Canelo never looked better physically and mentally. This was the best version of Canelo. But it was not enough. He was not on the Super Saiyan level. That's all. Canelo was never on that level. As far as Robert Garcia wanting Canelo to show his heart and take chances, the reality is that came with a cost of him going to sleep. He already nearly went to sleep in the last round anyway, playing it safe. The point I'm trying to make, when Robert Garcia fought Corrales, what happened in that fight? He got knocked out. Why? Because there's levels to this game. And Crawford is simply on another level. Just like Oscar was on another level, then Chavez Sr., just like Hopkins was on another level, then Oscar De La Hoya, just like Randall was on another level, then Chavez Sr. We've seen fighters get put to sleep like Barrera, where they were forced to go from Mexican style to boxing style just so they can prolong their career. And there's nothing wrong with that. Subscribe below and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Afterwards, Canelo said he's better than Floyd Mayweather, and obviously you're friends with him. But what did you think of that statement, and do you agree with it?
I mean, I don't know. I think they both great fighters. I think that I see what I see what Canelo is saying. I think he's probably mesmerized by how strong Bud Crawford was that night. I think he realized that if he made one mistake, he could have got hurt in that fight too. But honestly, it's a hard thing to say with both guys because both guys are brilliant. Both guys are great fighters. So I wouldn't say it, but I definitely would say both of them are legends, and I appreciate both of them.